hope you all are fine. This is Monica Sharma from Commerce Department and today I am going to teach you selection process, a topic from chapter 6 staffing. Students, as you all know the functions of management. There are mainly 5 functions which are performed by a manager: planning, organizing, staffing, directing and controlling. In planning, basically the manager thinks in advance what we have to do. In organizing, we decide the various posts, and under staffing we recruit, we fill that post which we have decided under organizing. Clear? Staffing is the third most important function of management. Without staffing, without recruiting the person, the planning and organizing is of no use. So today we are going to do the staffing function of management, and under staffing we will do the selection process. Staffing is a human resource function. Staffing is a function which helps in obtaining the right person and placing them at a right place to accomplish the goal of organization. Or in simple sense we can say staffing is selecting the right person and putting them at a right place or giving them a right job. That is the staffing. Under staffing we follow the various steps. First step of staffing is estimating the manpower. Now what is this estimation of manpower? Under estimation the manpower, we estimate the requirement of manpower, human resource in the organization. After estimation, the second step under staffing is recruitment. Recruitment is a process of finding the candidates. Find out the candidates. Recruitment. Recruitment basically is a positive process in which we encourage or stimulate the candidates to apply for a job. So we can say it's a positive process. Now the next is selection. Now what is the selection? Selection is basically choosing the best candidate out of the candidates which we have recruited. That is the selection. Selection is basically choosing the best candidate out of the candidate which we have under recruitment process. Clear this thing? So basically in selection process we eliminate the unsuitable candidates and we select the best one. So selection is basically a negative process in which we reject the candidates, those who are not suitable for the particular job. So in selection process various steps are performed to eliminate the unsuitable candidate. As I told you, selection is a negative process in which we eliminate the candidates and to select the most suitable candidate. And for selecting the most suitable candidate we have this process. There are a step under a selection process which helps in choosing the best candidate. Now what is this process? Let's start with the first step, which is preliminary screening. Now what is this preliminary screening? Preliminary screening. Under the preliminary screening we basically scan the application forms which we have taken under recruitment process, that we scan, and unsuitable candidates we eliminate under the first step of scanning. Now with the help of application form we reject some of the candidates, and the other suitable candidates we call for them a first round interview. That first round interview is known as a preliminary interview. That is a basic interview, you can say face-to-face communication. Only general questions are asked in the preliminary round, and in that preliminary screening or preliminary interview the interviewer or employer only check the physical or mental ability of a person to perform a particular task or to perform a particular job. For example, if I talk about selection process of or preliminary screening of a air hostess selection, what they will say: in first round interview they only see the personality of a person, personality and the communication skill. That only they will see in the selection of air hostess under the preliminary screening. Clear? After preliminary screening there is a selection test. Those who qualified the preliminary screening or the first interview round, they were asked to appear for a selection test. Now what is this selection test? Employment test is basically it can be either a paper or pen test or an exercise which basically helps to measure the intelligence, the interest of the person, the aptitude of a person. That only will measure under a selection test. It can be a written or an exercise test, you can say. Under selection test, we have mainly 5 tests. The first is intelligence test. Intelligence test is the most important psychological test. Basically, under this test, we measure the level of intelligence, or you can say IQ level of a candidate. That we will measure under intelligence test. This test indicates the learning ability of a person, or you can say the ability of taking decisions or judgment and all. That comes under an intelligent test. Basically, intelligent test, if I'll take one example, giving 2 drawings with a very little difference to evaluate or to measure the power of differentiation of a candidate. That comes under an intelligence test. Next is aptitude test. Now, what is this aptitude test? Aptitude test is a little different from intelligence test. Under intelligence test, we were measuring the intelligence power of a person. But under aptitude test, basically we measure the potential of a candidate to learning the new skill. Ki how easily or how quickly a person is learning the new things. That will check under aptitude test. After aptitude test, we have a personality test. These personality tests are conducted to measure the personal characteristic of a person. For example, the values, the beliefs, emotional stability of a person, or how a person behaves in a particular situation. Okay? The personality, you can say, the behavior of a person we judge under personality test. After personality test, we have a trait test. Trait test, basically, trait test is conducted to measure the existing skill in a candidate. That only will evaluate under a trait test. Trait test, for example, typing test is conducted for the post of a typist. That will come under a trait test. It's a subject related test, you can say. After trait test, we have an interest test. Interest test is basically used to evaluate the interest area of a person. Which kind of jobs will give the satisfaction to the person? The interest area of a person. What are the different interests of a person? How they can, how the person will get satisfaction. That we will measure under a interest test. Now, those who qualified all these tests, they'll call for a final interview, or you can say employment interview. This interview is basically a formal or in-depth conversation between the employer and the employee. This is basically conducted to evaluate the suitability of candidates for a particular job. If person is suitable for a job or not. Okay? In this, a panel of management sits and they ask questions from a person related to their personality, related to the subject matter, and all other questions also, which they inquire under a selection test. How a person present his ability in front of the management. That is under an employment interview. Clear this employment interview? After employment interview, there is a reference and background check. For this, generally in every organization, the candidates are asked for the name and addresses for the reference, so that the information which is given by the candidates can be inquired, or for the verification, the organization asks the reference numbers, and these reference numbers can be of existing employees, can be of teachers, their neighbors, and can be of university professors and all. So that this round is basically to evaluate, or you can say to check the background history of a person, how that person is behaving in society. There should not be a criminal record. The person should not involve in any unlawful activities. That only they will check under a reference and background check. The history, the background of a person, how that person is behaving in a society. For that, they ask reference number for the candidate, from the candidate only. The candidate gives the reference number of the persons which the candidate knows. that he gives, and they inquire, verify the information and get the additional information also related to the person or candidate, you can say. After checking this background and reference check, the next is selection decision. The candidates who cross all the hurdles, these hurdles, preliminary screening, the selection test or the interview, those who cross all these hurdles, their name involved in a final list of selection. Now under selection decision, they discuss all the things with the other persons, and mainly the views and opinion of concerned manager is to be taken. And after the discussion and the verification, they'll select the candidate. Under the selection decision, they choose the candidate. After selecting the candidate, the next step is a medical examination. This medical examination is conducted just to ensure that they are getting a healthy worker. Just to ensure this thing only, they are getting a healthy worker. The person who is selected under the selection decision, the person has to undergo the medical examination, and the person who will fit and fine or healthy under a medical examination, only that person will get the job offer. So after medical examination, the next step is job offer. Job offer is a kind of letter of appointment in which appointment date is mentioned and the other code of conduct related to the organization or the employment that is mentioned under a job offer is a kind of letter of appointment from which date the person can person will be appointed for a particular task. That comes under a job offer. Now this job offer is given to the candidate. Now after job offer, the next is contract of employment. When the candidate accepts the job offer, yes, he is ready to do that job on that particular salary or in that particular condition, then the organization make a contract of employment. This is the last step of selection process, in which a contract is made by the organization. In this contract, they'll give complete information. The candidate also will give the complete information and the attested certificate and all, and the organization also give the complete working conditions of the organization, the working hours of the organization, the salary, pay, allowance, incentives, the timing of the office, each and everything they'll mention under contract of employment. After accepting the job offer, the person has to sign the contract of employment. Then only the person will be selected for a particular job. So this is the selection process, in which first of all preliminary screening, then selection test, then employment interview, then they'll check and verify the background or from the reference persons. After that they'll select the person, then the medical examination to ensure the health of a person, we are getting a healthy person. After that job offer, letter of appointment, and after that they'll make the contract of employment. And after this selection process is complete. The organization now will get the best candidate out of many candidates. See, in this also they will eliminate some of the candidates. Under selection test they eliminate or reject the persons. Under employment interview also they will reject some of the person. Under reference and background also they will reject some of the person. These 4 steps is basically for eliminate the unsuitable or undeserving candidates, those who are not deserving, those who are not suitable for that particular job. They will eliminate under these 4 steps. After that they will take the selection decision, and after this also under medical also some of the candidates can be eliminate. Clear? So this is the selection process. So selection is basically choosing the best candidate out of the candidates which comes under recruitment, because under recruitment we stimulate, we encourage many people to come and apply for a job, and out of that candidates will select the best one who has a that job related all the qualifications and the person who is suitable for that particular job. I hope I made you clear this selection process. Thank you. Now the next topic is training and development. Training refers to a process of increasing knowledge, skill and attitude of an employee to perform a particular task, or you can say for performing a particular job. It basically increases the skill and the knowledge of a employee. That is a training. Training is a systematic and continuous process of improving skills of a employee. This training enables to employees to perform a particular task in a better way. Basically, this training is a job-oriented process in which the person is enabled to perform a particular task in a better way. That is a training. On the other hand, development is related with the overall growth of a employee. This basically seeks to prepare the employees for handling the more responsible and the challenging job by developing and polishing their qualities and the hidden talent. Development comes under that only. Development is a career-oriented process and which enable the person to grow, and the person can handle more responsibilities under the development programs. So training is basically related with improving the present skills of a person, and this development is basically shaping the attitude of a employee. Development related to overall growth, and training is basically helps in improving the skills which is related to that particular job. Clear? Training and the development. This is job oriented process and development is a career oriented process in which basically these development programs help in shaping the attitude of employees so that they can grab the opportunities which are helpful in the career growth. Clear? Now, the next is importance of training and development. Next is importance of training and development. Training meaning we know now. Training is basically job oriented in which training helps in improving the skills, and development is basically related with the overall growth. Importance of training and development. What will be the importance? Every organization needs trained and skilled, or you can say experienced person to survive and grow in competing environment. In rapidly changing environment, the jobs have become more complex. In this, training and development basically help in, or you can say it's very essential to maintain a knowledgeable workforce. It's very essential. Training and development plays an important role in improving the efficiency and effectiveness of organization as well as the employees. This training and development helps. Now come to the first, the importance of training and development to the organization. What will be the importance? What are the benefits to the organization providing this training and development? The first is optimum utilization of resources. Yes, well-trained person will optimize the available resources in the organization. They know how to make a best use of the available resources. So when we provide training to them, they'll definitely utilize the resources of the organization. After that, increase productivity. Yes, when the person is properly utilize the resources, or you can say the wastage is minimum, then the production level will be increased, or you can say in both the terms, productivity will increase as a quantity wise also and quality wise also. There is an improvement in the productivity, so there will be an increase in the productivity and it will help in earning more profits. Next is reduce wastage. Yes, as well-trained person know how to handle the things, how to make best use of the resources. So wastage will be less after providing the training and development. After that, reduce employee turnover. See, if in an organization the employees will not get this training and development, they will be unsecure in the organization, because as we all know, our environment is keep on changing, and if the environment is keep on changing, for example, if the technology will change, the employees will not able to do cope up with the changing environment. So they should be provided by training and development so that they feel secure in the organization and the absenteeism or the turnover will be less in the organization. After that, its next point is less need of supervision. I will not say there is no need of supervision after providing training and development. Yes, there is a need, but comparatively less. They need less supervision, less guidance after providing them training and development because they know how to handle the things, how to do the task. After that, prepare future manager. Under training and development, we are talking about the overall growth of our employee, you can say, or under training we are improving their knowledge and skills. It means we are preparing a future manager, we are improving their skills, we are increasing their knowledge, or we are organizing the program for the development, for the career development of the employees. It means we are preparing a future manager. In emergency, they can easily handle the activities which are performed by the manager. After that, last point is better response to fast changing environment. See, if we will not provide training and development to the employees, they will not accept the change. They will not at all accept the change. And when we will provide training and development, they will easily accept the changes. They will give a better response to the changing environment because they know they will get training for that, and it's a better opportunity to improve their skills and the knowledge. Now come to the next. What are the benefits to the employees? Now this training and development definitely will give benefits to the employees also. First is career growth. As I told you, this is basically linked with improving the knowledge, skills and ability of employees, and on the other hand, development helps in the growth of a person. Development is a process of learning and growth. In this, they get the better career opportunities if their ability will be if their ability is improved. Better earning capacity, yes, they'll make the best use of resources, they'll perform well, wastage will be less, and their performance will be increased when they get the training and development. So it will help in getting the more profit, or you can say it will help in better earning capacity. Safety to the employees. Well-trained persons, your well-trained employees are very less prone to the accidents. They know how to handle the equipment, they know how to handle the machines. So there is a less chance of accidents when we provide training and development. After that, more efficient, yes, it definitely improves the skills and the knowledge of a person, and it helps in becoming a person more efficient in their working. After that, increase the morale, yes, definitely. This training helps to high the morale of our employees, as they get the job satisfaction when they get training and development, and this they know how to do the work, and they get the job security is also there. They'll satisfied with their job, so their morale will be high. Clear? I hope importance of training and development is clear to you. Methods of training. The important methods of training are categorized into two main methods: on-job training method and off-the-job training method. Now what is this on-job training method? As the name suggests, on-job training method, it means these are the method in which the training is provided at a workplace only. The employees are learning while doing the work. So basically, on-job training methods are the method in which training is provided at a workplace only, and it's based on a principle learning by doing. Learning while doing means persons, the employees are learning while doing the work. Trained are under this, training is given by the experienced and the expert persons. Yes, under on-job training, the employee is put under the expert, or you can say the experienced person, and the employee will learn from that experienced person. Employees contribute toward the work. Yes, under this on-job training method, the persons are doing the work also. Actual work is also going on, and they are giving their contribution toward the work. The second is off-job training method. Off-job training method, in this type of method, the training is provided away from the job. The person is not actually doing the work. The person is not at a workplace. He is away from the job, and at that place they are providing them a training. This is basically related where the training is provided away from the job, and the principle is learning before doing, means the person is learning something before doing the work. Trained by the professionals, yes, the mainly technicians and the professionals guided them how to do the work under off-job training method, and they doesn't contribute toward the work because they are away from the workplace. So this is on-job training method and this is off-job training method. The example for off-job training method is vestibule training, and the example for on-job training method is internship, apprenticeship. This we are going to do in detail. These are the methods of training. A very first method is induction training. This is also known as a orientation training also. Induction training is a training which helps the new employee to adjust or settle in a organization by becoming familiar with the job, with the organization, with the existing employees or with the business. This induction training is basically prescribed for a very shorter period of time, or you can say it's vary from a few hours to few days. This is an introduction related training in which a new person gets introduction of organization, this under induction training, and basically this is prescribed by showing lectures or to the different departments, you can say, or by showing a short film which is related to the policies and the strategies of organization. Under this induction training, the new employee will become familiar with the policies and the strategies of organization. This is basically related with the new employee, introduction of new employee to the organization, and the organization's rule and regulation will be telling to the employees under the induction training, which helps the new employees in settling down in the organization. After that, the next is vestibule training. Vestibule training is a method of off-job training in which the training is conducted away from the workplace. This is off-job training method, and off-job training method is away from the workplace, in which they learn before doing the work. Under this, actual work environment is created in a classroom. That is, you can say a workshop, a model workshop is prepared, and instead of handling the original equipment, the employees are trained on a dummy models. Basically, they use the dummy models how to handle the equipment. These vestibule training is useful where the equipment which a person is going to handle is very expensive and sophisticated. So before they work on original equipments, they will get training on a dummy models under this vestibule training, which is away from the workplace. Clear? After that, third point is apprenticeship training. Under this training, the trainee or the employees work under the guidance of a master, or you can say expert of that work. The person is work under the guidance of that master one, the expert person. That person help him, guide him to improve the skills. Basically, these apprenticeship trainings are designed to get a high level of skills, to improve the high level of skills under this apprenticeship training. A prescribed uniform time period is given to the training so that the person can learn from the expert. The expert works, and the employees is also work under the guidance of that expert person only, the master only. The person guide him how to do the work. It basically help in learning the skills, high level of skills, you can say, under the apprenticeship training. Okay? In this, employees work for a prescribed time period of time, for a particular time period of time, so that he can learn the skills of that person in which under the person the new employee is working. That is apprenticeship training. Clear this thing? This is basically for learning the skills. This is basically related with the skilled traders like carpenters, electricians, plumbers, etc. After that, the last one we have internship training. Internship name to you must have heard. Internship is basically a joint program of educational institution and the business firms. In this, selected candidates can work in an organization while doing their studies also. For a prescribed time period of time, they can study also in the education institution and they work also under a business firm. Clear this thing? So that they can get a practical knowledge also along with the theoretical knowledge. For example, engineer students, they appoint in a business firms, or that medical students, they work in an hospital to get a practical knowledge. So these are the main methods of training. Induction, which are related with the introduction of new employees or settling the new employees in the organization. Vestibule training is an off-job training method in which a dummy model is prepared, and instead of doing work on original equipments, the employees first trained on a dummy models. That comes under vestibule training. It's away from the workplace. Apprenticeship training, this is at the workplace only. It's related to the workplace. The person learn while doing the work under a expert person. Internship training, it's a collaboration, or you can say it's a joint program of educational institution and the business firms. Educational institution, they send their students in a business firms to learn the practical knowledge also. Clear? So these are the methods of training.